Ding dong, the Hela's dead. They wrecked this deck. It's an OTA. I'm Glazer. This is Snap Judgments. Let's get going with Hela, who's now a 6/6 from a 6/9. That's -3 power. That's about as big a nerf as they ever give anything, right? -3 power is an absolute ton. This goes from S to maybe C. That's a lot of power. I don't think alone this would do that. I don't think the -3 power alone would bring it. So let's keep going. Oh, oh, that's Swordmaster. Swordmaster lost a power. Um, 3/6 is still keyword big though, right? Like 3/6 is a lot of power. 3/7 was huge, one of the biggest threes. But 3/6 is still above rate. This is still a B in Hela, and it still probably has like some Darkhawk-ish decks home, some sort of odds decks home. Okay, fine, fine. This is like not great though, right? Like this is another power off. That's -4 power to the list. Oh, Hellcow is a 4/6 now. We're at -5 power to the list. Okay, this is a more serious nerf than Swordmaster. 4/6 is average. Well, Swordmaster is above average. Again, this is still good enough to probably be a B in Hela. You can still blink it off, whatever. The question is going to be where Hela is, because I don't think this has like any non-Hela homes. So let's do one last. Wait, what? Black Cat lost 2 cost and 4 power? Black Cat goes to a 2/6. Black Cat was one of the most important cards in the Hela deck. Like genuinely crazy important. Because if you could just discard Black Cat, one of the big 12s, and Infinite, you had like a 40 power last turn, a 50, nope, 40-ish power last turn, which was wildly strong. -4 is a lot here. Um, I don't like. I'd play a 2/6, right? If I could play a 2/6, but if I draw her on one, she's still gonna discard herself before I can play her. If I draw her late game, I have to play her that turn. There's nothing else I really want to do with her. I think this is the biggest nerf outside of Hela herself. Like the other two losing one is fine, but Black Cat no longer being just free 10 is wild. She goes from an A in Hela to like a C or D. I'm not even 1,000% sure she's still in the list. Let's take a look at the deck. This is going to be the Hela deck going forward. It's so much worse. Thaddeus Ross might finally just end up being Adam Warlock because now we're getting Infinite Scar and Death, but we're not getting Black Cat anymore. And getting Black Cat was kind of the point because you would get the free Black Cat draw and then she would auto discard herself, and that was kind of what we were trying to do. I think we have to cut Blink if we want to run Hela, and I'm just going to be clear, I don't want to run Hela. But I think we have to cut Blink now, right? Because there's just not enough power. You need the amplifier that is Iron Man over Blink. I don't think you can run a 5/7 because if you get it back, you're just so far behind now all of a sudden. That's going to make the deck significantly less consistent, right? Like, so we've lost a bunch of power and now it's less consistent. So let's talk about Hela again. The deck just lost 9 power. I think nothing has ever lost that much power ever in Marvel Snap outside of just like pure redesigns. Um, this deck is going to be less consistent at -9 power. If this deck is better than a C, Hela is far more broken than we've ever thought. But I think Hela is completely dead. Sorry, Hela lovers. Sorry, those who were trying to climb to infinite with it. I warned you that this could happen. I think Hela is dead. -9 power to the list. Goodbye, Hela. Before we get to the next change, and there are 2 more huge nerfs and then a bunch of major buffs, please hit that sub button. We cover Marvel Snap more thoroughly than anyone in the entire game. We give you at least 3 new decks every single day. This morning we had the #1 ranked deck, which is shock of shocks, a Galactus list. We get you the best decks before anyone else, and we cover Marvel Snap more thoroughly. This Saturday, we will have a big guide of every bundle that has a Series 4 and 5 card and all the best ways to spend either your gold or your money in Marvel Snap. We cover everything. This is a 10 video week. If you want the most Marvel Snap, hit that sub button, hit that like, hit that comment to help us out as we try to hit 25,000 subs in 2025. We are also giving away an Agamotto, and you can enter to win that Agamotto on this very video. All you have to do is sub, like, and comment. I'll tell you what comment to make later this video, although it's always the same for OTA videos. It's review the OTA, spoiler. You sub, like, and comment, and someone who does that this week will win an Agamotto. We give one away every week, except for the first week of the season where we give away 5 of the new season pass card. So if you want Agamotto, do the thing. The Doombots are now 4-0. This is yet another huge nerf. The card was still S tier after the last nerf. I think they want it to be 8, but they think they overdid it. I think this is actually going to mostly kill this. So the deck already lost -2 or 3 power last time it was nerfed. and now it lost another -2 or 3 power, so it's a -6. I don't think the list can actually survive that. I think the games that were really close, that it was winning by going just over the top, are now games that it just sort of loses. Um, Galactic Agamotto, those Galactic Agamotto decks that are everywhere, are still really, really strong and should be able to outpower them. There's a lot of Enchantress that should really shut this down. I think Doom is probably gone outside of maybe Arisham. This is something I might try to climb to Infinite with if I had like a lot of time to like win a lot of close games. But outside of that, I think that they effectively nerf the living crap out of 2099 finally. I honestly hope they do something. They need to figure something out, some way to kind of revert this, because I think this is too much. Like with this, I think Doom could probably just be a 4-2. Like this is, sorry, a 3-2. This is a wild nerf. This is the Captain Latveria deck. I created this deck when Spectrum was buffed before 2099 came out, within like a card or two. All that's changed is the tech cards. This is still a huge win rate list, except now I don't think you can play it. I just don't think there's enough here. Like you're too reliant on playing Blue Marvel, and you don't want to play Spectrum. You want to play Doom Classic, right? Now you really need to hit that Blue Marvel. There's not like a secondary Blue Marvel for this list. I don't know. Maybe when the new ongoing stuff comes out next month, 2099 will be back. And there's a reasonable argument that the real reason they nerf this is that they're releasing a lot of ongoing support next month, and that could make Doom 2099 too good. But for the time being, I think this deck is kind of dead. This was one of the best decks for literally 2 months, and I think it's gone. Next up, we've got a fairly major change. This one's going to hit like Cam Best right in the heart. Cap's Shield goes from a 1-1 to a 0-1. Apparently, they didn't mean for it to work for Cull Obsidian. Oopsie. All this really does is, oh, one of the two things it really does is get it away from Cull, which means if we want to run Surtur Scar, we need to run ones again. I think that deck has taken so many hits, I think that even with Starbrand, that's going to kill it. There's another place I didn't realize until I was thinking about this after I wrote the slide that this is really, really going to hurt. Zoo was a meta deck. Zoo had one of the highest win rates in Marvel Snap. I think losing Sam really hurt Zoo. Having that one on board to always be able to go, I played a one early and now I automatically have a one. I can basically always get amazing value out of Marvel Boy. That buff from Khazar was incredible. I think losing that really hurts. Like genuinely really hurts the deck. I think Zoo is still probably A tier, but I think the Surtur Scarless are likely gone. I'll ask Skada once I have time, once this is out and he has time to like test a little bit, and we'll see if there's a version of this. But I think it's gone, man. I think they just killed it. And it's on purpose, obviously, right? Like they don't want Hela to exist. They don't want the Scar Surturless to be the best deck in the game anymore. They gave it its time, and that time has passed. I still think Sam is overall an S tier car, largely because it goes so well with the Galacta Agamotto nonsense. Um, but almost every other home is kind of gone. But this type of deck, this is the Sizer Agamotto list. He's ranked 2, playing largely versions of this. Sometimes he runs Enchantress, sometimes he runs other cards in that spot. It doesn't really matter. But versions of this are currently the number 2 ranked list on the Infinite Leaderboard. And Sam stays here, right? Because turning Sam Wilson into a 2/7 with a shield is great. Um, Being able to use that as an extra card for the images of icon is also absolutely insanely strong. So when you combine those two things, I think that this deck doesn't really honestly change. And I think there's enough decks that are sort of like this, like Screamless still want Sam Wilson just fine, right? There's enough decks that still want this, and I still think this is one of the best cards. But there was sort of a contention that Sam was the best card in Marvel Snap. I think he's pretty clearly not going to be now. I'm not sure he's better than Iron Patriot or Galacta, other of the very best cards in the game at this point. So I don't know. I think they've knocked him down from like really S tier to just S tier, but we shall see. Hey, check out a stream on Twitch. I'll be streaming tonight at twitch.tv/PulseGlazer. We're going to talk about this OTA with Kier Nimbus and Kidley tonight on the stream. And on Sunday, we have a huge, huge stream. We're going to be doing a ton of giveaways. We're on the Twitch front page at twitch.tv/PulseGlazer. Check it out. And a reminder, your season pass question, now that you've seen some of the OTA, is what is your OTA review? We are also now done with the nerfs, and we're going to move on to all the buffs. Our first buff is Loki, who goes from a 2/2 to a 1/2, which is a crazy good buff, because now I can splash Loki. A 1/2 is something I don't really have any hesitation of just throwing into things, so anytime there's a sort of mid-rangey meta, and I think we might be heading towards a mid-rangey meta unless negative overpowers it or something crazy happens. Without Hell, I think we might be heading back toward a mid-range meta, which means a 1/2 Loki, a Loki on 1 is insanely strong. This probably brings it from a C to an A tier card. He's just too easy to include. There's one thing I wish wasn't the case. I wish he didn't fit back in Arishem, but he totally fits back in Arishem. Arishem with Loki on one, we saw how strong that was. He didn't even lose a power when you do him on one, right? Like, because we used to play Loki on one when he was a 2-2. Now we play him on one as a 1-2 in Arishem. That's going to be crazy strong. And this is going to be the list to probably start with for that. Um, I basically wanted to do a non-Doom 2099 list because I don't think Loki and 2099 work especially well together. But like, how about an Eson list? How about like I just go get their cards and I can play them for free? The cards with Loki work really well with Quinjet. We've got a bunch of stuff to make Mockingbird cheaper outside of just the Arishem stuff. I think this is probably really good. And remember, Loki's a 1-2, right? So I actually have early game in my Arishem. I don't know. This feels like it's probably very strong to me. Thanos gets two huge buffs, and I wonder when this decision was made because Thanos has been really, really good since the week before Agamotto came out. But he is now a 6/12, and his Space Stone goes to a 1-2. Space Stone was kind of mid, so that as a 1-2 is a decent amount of extra power, and 6/12 is just huge. That is now Magneto sized, and it can become a 6/22. Wow. Um, it's hard to imagine this is not at least an A tier card now. I think it was B. I think he's at least an A tier card now, and he might even be S. Reminder that Sunday on that stream, by the way, we're going to tier all the Series 4 and 5 cards. But between this, Loki, Agamotto, I think Darkhawk and Cassandra are going to be extremely buffed. I expect to see a lot of Thanos, though. Pack your Gorgons. Hopefully you got Gorgon from Sanctum. Crazy has this list. Crazy has been in the top 20-ish of the Infinite Leaderboard with Thanos all season, more or less. Playing basically this list since Agamotto came out. He finished in the top 10 last season. Before Agamotto came out with this list, play this freaking list. I don't know what to tell you. This seems really, really good. It's just powerful. It's better, right? Like you now have two 12 drops in the list. You have an extra power on one of the stones. Maybe we want Zoo too with the extra power on the stones. I don't know. But either way, I do know that this list is going to be very, very strong and very, very present in the meta. We're almost done here. We've got Bruce frickin' Banner with the buff. They will not let cards just be bad if they can avoid it. Bruce now goes from a 25% chance to a 33% chance to Hulk out. We've all had conversations about what number Bruce would have to be at to be a really, really strong card. I've asked all the math people I know whether they think 33% chance, like over time we all threw around different numbers, a 33% chance would really, really be worth it. And turns out the answer is yeah, 33% chance means that like if you're skipping energy, you're pretty damn likely to turn your 2-1 into a 2/12. The additional change not reflected in checks, Bruce is going to keep the power modifiers after hulking out too, which means if you play him with Misty, and I'm not going to play him with Misty, but if you play him with Misty, all of a sudden that gets even better too. I think he's like a B tier card. In Evolutionary, which is probably still a C tier deck, but I think he's a B tier card. I think this card may be good. I'm curious if this deck may be good. I'm going to be testing the crap out of this on stream, probably without Kara, because and maybe with Kara, because I've got all these 6 drops, right? I don't know. Look at this list. Like with Thunderbolt Ross, I should be able to draw my She-Hulks, my Hulks, my Infinauts, my Red Hulks, right? Like I should be able to draw them relatively often. My Sunspot should be an extra 6/12. Oh, this feels like a lot of power. If there's not a Hela to go over the top of this, why not this deck? I'm gonna give this one some go. I think is where I'm landing here. I'm gonna give this one some play. This deck got better by a lot, right? Like Sunspot gained a power, High Evolutionary gained a power, um, Bruce gained a bunch of power. Okay, let's see how this works. I'm curious. Finally, we have Logan becoming a 2/3. So Destroy Bros, wherever the hell you're from, rejoice. I don't know if Destroy Bros watch these videos, but there's a bunch of people. Destroy Bros, just so you know, are people who use Destroy avatars and then Infinite Conquest Week come out of the woodwork and play nothing but Destroy all week in Infinite Conquest. Those are the Destroy Bros. They will be very happy that Wolverine is good. This won't really matter as a general meta thing. It's nice, right? The C tier card and C tier deck is still a C tier card and a C tier deck, but there is a card coming out in 2 months that will be a new destroy piece. That's like the next card it's an activate next card you play gets destroyed, and doing that with Wolverine is not the worst thing in the world. So like, hey, cool. Like it's not amazing again, but you were not sad to see a card have a little bit more power, right? Cool. This is the smallest change. Everything else here feels relatively huge, though. So, Classic Destroy. This is Classic Destroy. Lots of people run Zola over Shang. I am a Shang truther for Destroy. That's it. This is the list. It's got an extra power. Hooray! Certain tier support on our Patreon come with honor. Thanks. The OTA is over. Don't forget to review in the comments. And I'm going to say thank you to relatively quickly because second video of the day. Let's get this going. Absolute Shannon, Patron of the Month. Abigail Gleason, Burnout, mandatory it is. It regardless, LAB, Inc. I am Frostman, Hota Navarrete, Thinking Poker, Brian Bryan, Ryan Berg, and Ryan Wood. Ryan's. Caretax Lee, Koire, Kazushi, Archangel 3K, 4K. Black Dahlia, Permafrost, Goatseeker, and Black Dahlia, Permafrost, and the Goatseeker, Alliance Leaders, Hallowed, Nightmare, Only Fox, Synth, Fatnik, Dirty, Casual, Mr. Kerfuffle, Cables, Jinja Prime, Philip Rakovich, Haplo, Kenny Loggins of the Digital, The Bizza, Black Teamers 23, Extra Ski and Skip PG, Jessica Gamble, Celestia, The King of Bros, Bro, The Great Kazoo, Werewolf, Kepsi Hoda, Lunarcrest, Clam, and Colonel Forbin. 2 people in that row live together, but I'm not telling you which 2. Rob Silverman, M. Holland, David G. Wingfield, Stephen Brian Kaufman, Justin H. Martin, Jason B., and Mr. Craig Sterry, along with Matt V., our special guest, who are Real Name Town, Ren Wrench, Corbin John Q, and Jim McHugh, Cute Town, Yistout, 1/8 Sage, 1/8 Sage, 1 Big Man, 2 Milkman for reals, not fake Milkmans, real Milkmans, Cactus Jack, BG, Quid Pro, Joe, Snap Decisions, Joe, Models Not Supreme, Green, Goblin, Uni, Bot, Flan 56, The Fuzzy Lump, Spectrum X, Hoot, Ocularis, what's up, Ocu, the only Matt H will ever need, DJ Mikey Hedgings, no frickin' flex, Nick, Duck, Greek Geek, Zodrex, the King of Canada, Denman, Falcon, Father, Newman, Jonesy, Two Ties, the Great Learner as the Pirate King Tucker, and of course, Gunny T, where the T stands for. That's it. I'ma get off now. I hope you enjoy this OTA and come see me stream later. I'll see you there, and thank you all for your love and support. Back at you, babe. Peace.